2026 and 2027 are set to be important years for PlayStation 5, with several ambitious projects finally taking shape. These are games that are officially in development and designed specifically for current generation hardware, focusing on strong direction, scale, and identity. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet represents a major shift for Naughty Dog. This is their first completely new universe in years, and it moves far beyond the grounded realism they are known for. The setting is deeply science fiction, filled with alien landscapes, abandoned structures, and advanced technology that feels ancient at the same time. The protagonist appears isolated, navigating hostile territory while questioning belief systems, control, and survival. Visual fidelity is clearly a focus, with dense environmental detail, realistic lighting, and subtle character animation that communicates emotion without constant dialogue. The pacing appears more reflective, allowing players to absorb the world rather than rushing through it. This looks like a game built around atmosphere, discovery, and narrative weight rather than spectacle alone. Zoopunk takes a completely different approach by fully embracing stylization. The world is loud, colorful, and unapologetically expressive. The cyberpunk city is packed with vertical spaces, neon lighting, and exaggerated architecture designed to be navigated creatively. Characters are animated with personality, giving every movement a sense of attitude and momentum. Traversal looks fluid, encouraging players to stay mobile and interact with the environment in dynamic ways. Zoopunk does not aim for realism and doesn't need to. Its strength lies in identity, visual confidence, and energy. This is the kind of game that stands out immediately because nothing else looks or feels quite like it. Exodus is built around long-term consequences rather than short-term rewards. The central idea of time passing plays a critical role in how the story unfolds. Decisions can affect characters years later, altering relationships, alliances, and even entire civilizations. The narrative structure is designed to make choices feel meaningful without clearly signaling outcomes. Characters can age, evolve, or disappear based on player actions. The world itself reflects these changes, making progress feel earned rather than scripted. Dialogue systems focus on intent and tone instead of simple moral binaries. Exodus is aiming to create a sense of responsibility, where players genuinely feel the weight of shaping the future. Marvel's Wolverine is a character-focused project built around intensity and restraint. Insomniac is clearly approaching this game differently from their other superhero titles. The emphasis is on Wolverine's physicality, emotional struggle, and raw presence. Movement feels heavy and aggressive, reinforcing the character's nature. Environments appear tightly designed, prioritizing detail and mood over size. The narrative seems more personal, focusing on internal conflict rather than world-saving spectacle. This feels like a game that wants players to understand Logan as a character, not just control him. 007 First Light offers a modern interpretation of James Bond without relying on established movie plots. The design centers around espionage, planning, and adaptability. Missions encourage observation, patience, and experimentation. Players can approach objectives in multiple ways, using gadgets, disguises, or environmental interactions. Locations are richly detailed, designed to reward awareness and curiosity. The emphasis is on feeling clever and resourceful rather than overpowering. This aligns perfectly with IO Interactive's experience in sandbox mission design. First Light appears to respect the intelligence of the player, letting situations unfold naturally based on decisions made. The Blood of Dawnwalker introduces a grim fantasy setting shaped by decay, mystery, and ancient conflict. The world feels worn and dangerous, with environments that tell stories through their design rather than exposition. Exploration is encouraged, with hidden paths, lore fragments, and environmental storytelling scattered throughout the map. Character progression is deliberate, allowing players to define their approach through skills and equipment choices. The tone remains consistent, maintaining tension and atmosphere across different locations. This game appears focused on immersion, letting the world speak for itself. Nioh 3 expands on the foundation built by its predecessors while refining core systems. Weapon variety offers different playstyles, each with its own learning curve and depth. Skill trees allow meaningful customization without overwhelming complexity. Enemy encounters are structured to test awareness and adaptability rather than reflexes alone. Level design feels more interconnected, reducing repetition and improving flow. Visual clarity has improved, making encounters easier to read during intense moments. Nioh 3 feels like a confident evolution, respecting what longtime fans enjoy while improving accessibility and pacing. Lords of the Fallen 2 deepens its dark fantasy identity by building a more cohesive and oppressive world. The dual realm mechanic plays a significant role, influencing exploration, enemy placement, and progression. Shifting between worlds changes how environments behave, creating new paths and dangers. The art direction emphasizes scale and atmosphere, using lighting and architecture to create tension. Character builds offer flexibility, encouraging experimentation without locking players into rigid roles. This sequel aims to deliver a more connected and immersive experience than its predecessor. Phantom Blade Zero blends traditional martial arts inspiration with a stylized fantasy setting. The animation work is a major highlight, creating fluid transitions between movements that feel cinematic yet responsive. Weapons each introduce distinct rhythms, encouraging players to adapt rather than rely on a single approach. Environments support vertical movement and spatial awareness, making positioning an important part of encounters. The visual style balances realism with artistic expression, giving the game a strong identity. Phantom Blade Zero feels designed to stand out through precision, presentation, and flow. Crimson Desert stands at the top because of its scale, ambition, and confidence. The open world is massive, filled with varied environments, dynamic weather, and large-scale conflicts. Exploration feels organic, with events unfolding naturally rather than being strictly scripted. Combat offers flexibility, allowing players to adapt based on situation and environment. Large battles feel chaotic but controlled, with clear visual feedback and structure. Storytelling is integrated directly into gameplay, allowing players to uncover narrative threads through exploration and interaction. Crimson Desert looks built to fully utilize PlayStation 5 hardware, aiming to deliver a complete and immersive world rather than isolated moments.